Hello my good fellas, today we are going to talk about Vincent Mancini-Corleone, what is actually known about him. How did he get into the underworld? What became of him after the events of The Godfather 3? And what could be shown in The Godfather Part IV? Let's find out. My name is Ivan Piatouski and you're watching Vano VHS. Remember the scene when Sonny Corleone gets to know Lucy Mancini better? Yes, that's right, we saw it at the beginning of the first film. Apparently that's when Santino's illegitimate son Vincent was conceived. Mancini was born shortly after Santino's death and lived his entire childhood with his mother. Mother and son had time to change several places of residence. The family lived for a while in Arizona and also in Jersey. But growing up, Vincent gathered his thoughts and returned to New York. Being an illegitimate child, the Corleone family didn't recognize his blood, so Vincent wasn't allowed to get into the Corleone ranks directly. But he was happily recruited by the Corleone family's representative in New York, Joey Zasa. Joey Zasa invited Vincent to a muscle part of his family. Vince agreed and started out working for Zasa as an enforcer, in spite of Michael's proposal to have him work in the legit world. Both he and Zasa soon grew to be foes, most notably over Zasa's scarcely veiled despise for Michael. In 1979, Vincent grew attached to his uncle, seeking to shield him from rival mafiosi. As the aging Don took the hot-tempered, reckless and ruthless young fellow to his wing, he sought to atone for Vincent's guilt as well as for his own. Michael was rescued by Vincent during a commission session from an assassination attempt by Zasa. Experienced in the streets, he became alert when Zasa and Altabello sharply fled the conference hall, and instantly recognized an assassination attempt being arranged when he sensed a chopper vibration. Afterwards that night, Michael had a severe diabetic stroke and was rushed to the emergency clinic. And the sponsor of this Vano VHS episode is Audible. Audiobooks are a great way to get a taste of a book without sitting down to read. You can listen to audiobooks in the car, at the gym, and you can read a book at any speed you want to finish reading faster. Audible offers an incredible selection of audiobooks of all genres. The best part is that the app has all those books we love so much. The Godfather, The Family Corleone, The Godfather's Revenge, Wise Guy, Hit 2 by Michael Mann and many more. Remember when I told you about the special edition of The Godfather with the Coppola introduction? You can listen to it today. All you have to do is visit audibletrial.com/vanovhs and ask for a trial. New users can try Audible for free for 30 days. Goodfellas, they made me an offer I couldn't refuse. I love books, but I don't always have time to read a paper version. But with Audible I can always enjoy The Godfather on the road or while driving. I really hope you will enjoy it too. Visit audibletrial.com/vanovhs and use a trial. All links are in the description. As an Audible associate, I earn from qualifying purchases, at no cost to you. Figuring that Zasa would likely assault Michael one more time, Vincent gained Connie's blessing to take out Zasa and assassinated him in person during a street festival in Little Italy. This greatly enraged Michael, despite the fact that Vincent employed the exact same logic that Michael had applied to justify the murder of Solozzo to shield Vito. Vincent's relentless tendency towards violence had frequently vexed Michael, but not nearly as much as his flaring affair with Michael's daughter, Mary. Recalling precisely how his enemies had unwittingly killed his first spouse, Apollonia, Michael was concerned that Mary would be threatened the further Vincent got into the family's business. That though proved useless to Michael when he discovered that Altabello was set in opposition to him. Vincent needed to fake his way over to the opposite side and beg Altabello to assist him in his escape with Mary and to establish a family of his own. After persuading Altabello that he had really made the switch, Vincent was presented to the mastermind responsible for Michael's most recent misfortunes, Don Licio Lucchesi. Regardless of their individual differences, Vincent was named by Michael as the newly appointed Don and leader of the Corleone family, ordering him to have his name changed to Vincent Corleone. Vincent was to end his affair with Mary in return for the raise. Time with Michael turned him into a new person, a far more wise, tolerant and conscious of his new Don title. But there was still a propensity for violence in him, as demonstrated in his first deed as Don. He ordered, with Michael's unspoken approval, the murder of Gilday, Kenzik and Lucchesi in one mass slaughter. Yet on the same night that the romance was over, Mary was killed. Vincent rapidly massacred the assassin. Heartbroken, Vincent embarked on his duties as Don Corleone. We don't know Vincent's future life after the events of The Godfather Part III for certain, but according to Francis Ford Coppola, both he and Puzo were envisioning The Godfather Part IV film, one storyline of which would have spanned Vincent's reign as leader of the Corleone family. Contrary to his forebears, Vincent was supposed to implicate the family in the drug business, which would lead to corruption and the final demise of the family. The story of Vincent was supposed to end with him being tracked down and murdered in a police gunfight, similar to the murder of Escobar, resulting in the ultimate downfall of the Corleone family. Intended to be titled The Godfather Part IV or The Godfather The Final Part, this alleged movie would have revisited Vito's recollections of his very first years as Don, as well as the childhood years of his children as they discover the precise nature of their father's enterprise. These recollections similarly feature the early days of Tom Hagen, Johnny Fontaine, Luca Brasi and other Corleone associates, as well as Vito's first encounter with Hyman Roth. A number of actors, among them Ray Liotta, Luis Guzman, Leonardo DiCaprio and Garcia himself, all expressed their desire to participate in the movie. Coppola stated that Puzo drafted the film, which alternates between Vincent's reign as boss and the happy years of the Corleone family, structurally akin to The Godfather Part II. Yet, after Mario's demise in 1999, when the film was still in its early development phases, the project was neglected and was never put into the making. However, let's not rush to get upset, because Paramount still has the rights to everything Godfather is about. A decade ago, I would have been sure that there wouldn't be any sequels, but now it's not that transparent. Let's be honest, studios are increasingly lacking new ideas for movies. Many franchises that seem to be long dead are suddenly coming to life and getting a second chance. You don't have to go far, just think of The Sopranos, Star Wars, Blade Runner. Of course, in most cases the sequels leave a lot to be desired, such as The Many Saints of New York, but sometimes there are exceptions, like Blade Runner by Villeneuve. But the actors have grown old and some of them are no longer alive, you might say. Then how do you make a sequel? That's partly true, but let's not forget that there is a flip side to every coin, and of course I'm talking about a prequel now. Andy Garcia is alive and well, and has explicitly expressed his interest in a new chapter of the Corleone family. The new installment of the franchise may be narrated by an aging Don Vincent Corleone, or optionally, Michael's heir apparent may be long gone, but then again, that doesn't rule out his role as narrator, as we saw with Chris Moltisanti in The Sopranos sequel. Or here is another quite realistic option. Rejuvenate Garcia with computer technology, as was done in Scorsese's The Irishman. I agree that The Irishman is not a great example of computer-generated rejuvenation. Yes, but who's stopping the studio from making it better? Especially since both Pacino and De Niro are alive and still starring in various big projects. I'm sure if the project got the green light, Talia Shire would happily reprise her role as Vito Corleone's daughter again. So it's quite likely that The Godfather 4 is not something impossible, but more likely a matter of time. And even if not in the film format, we will someday hear the story of Don Vincent in a book variant. After all, despite the death of the brilliant Puzo, the Godfather universe continues to live and develop in the form of several sequel novels, which by the way are quite well written and very organically complement the already magnificent story. I think a lot of people have already watched a worthwhile series about the making of The Godfather called The Offer. By the way, write in the comments if you watched the show or if you haven't. Do you think the studios just happened to make a series about The Godfather? Corporations like this plan ahead and do absolutely nothing for no reason. To me, it sounds like the filmmakers are testing the waters. Would you like to watch a fourth movie about the Corleone family? Write in the comments. Subscribe to my channel so you don't miss future Godfather videos. Support the channel by buying the Godfather merch. All the links are in the description. Make sure to watch the full Godfather playlist on the right. My name is Ivan Piatouski and you are watching Vano VHS.